Hey everyone, it's Cory McCarthy and thank you for tuning in. It's been far too long since I've done a training video on this channel, so let's talk training, shall we? I want to talk about an exercise that will strongly activate your quads, your hams, and your glutes, make you look sexier whether you're a man or a woman, improve your athleticism, complement your squat and your deadlift, and enhance your bedroom performance to keep your partner craving more. Plus, I want to throw in a little gym hack that you can apply to this exercise that will also activate the often undertrained thigh abductors, a small muscle that can help stabilize side kicks, for instance. And this hack will allow you to ditch the thigh abductor machine, also known as the naughty girl machine, which is useless aside from isolating the thigh abductors. The exercise that I am talking about is the barbell hip thrust, and the included gym hack is to wrap a resistance band around both of your legs simultaneously just above your knees, as demonstrated here, which requires you to forcefully spread your legs apart against resistance while performing the lift. And I've linked the specific band that I use below in the description for those who are interested. It's called the Slingshot Hip Circle, and it was developed by powerlifter Mark Bell, who also developed the original Slingshot product, which is used for the bench press. You will definitely need to use far less weight when incorporating the hip circle. In fact, my hip thrust 12 rep max had to be dropped by a staggering 110 pounds just to accommodate. So what's good about the hip thrust, you might be asking? Where's the science? First of all, while hip thrusting doesn't elicit the quad activation of a high bar squat nor the hamstring activation of a conventional deadlift, it still significantly activates both muscle groups in its own regard, while also being one of the best exercises for your glutes, outperforming the squat by about 82% and the deadlift by about 62% when it comes to gluteal activation. And this is according to EMG data released by Bret Contreras in 2010. And that's when comparing the 10 rep max for each exercise. So no, squats and deadlifts are not enough for stronger glutes. In fact, they are significantly inferior in that regard. For a little anecdote, when I first attempted the hip thrust, despite years of squatting and deadlifting, I couldn't manage more than 5 reps at 135 pounds. But after 6 months of consistently hip thrusting, at least twice per week, I worked up to 360 pounds for a 5 rep max. Now, that's without using the aforementioned hip circle, mind you. In other words, despite my years of squatting and deadlifting, among other exercises like hyperextensions, my glutes were fucking weak. And that's pretty pathetic considering the gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the human body and is responsible for torso stability and posture. Now let's look at some more research on the hip thrust. A 2015 paper found that while the squat better stimulates the vastus lateralis, the hip thrust better stimulates the upper and lower gluteus maximus and the biceps femoris, while not slacking on the vastus lateralis either. Furthermore, a 2018 Norwegian study on strength-trained athletes found that while the deadlift better stimulates the biceps femoris, the hip thrust better stimulates the gluteus maximus. Thus, for optimal hip extensor development, it is recommended that you include both the hip thrust and the barbell deadlift exercises in your training. Furthermore, a 2017 study found that due to its carryover to acceleration, athletes in sports such as rugby and American football might find the hip thrust beneficial to their performance. However, it is recommended that athletes incorporate both the squat and the hip thrust into their training for complementary improvements in performance. And finally, a 6-week study published in 2017 on experienced lifters found that squats, deadlifts, and hip thrusts are all required to maximize acceleration, explosive power, and agility. Thus, all 3 should appear in your routine. Now, when it comes to which method of hip thrusting you opt to use, research points to the barbell hip thrust as being superior. A 2016 paper found that the barbell hip thrust outperformed both the resistance band and the American variations of the exercise when it came to mean and peak gluteus maximus activation. And before someone claims that this exercise is just for chicks, despite the evidence that I presented on how it can benefit anyone,
A guy like The Rock uses it, and I quote, to showcase the relentless power in his thrust game, which is his jam when practicing making babies. And The Rock ain't no chick.
Yep, hip thrusts can also make you a sexual tyrannosaurus in bed. Just think about it for a moment. You're training your thrusting technique under heavy progressive resistance. That can translate to some serious deep alpha tier power fucking in the sheets. Visualize a jackhammer, if you will. And women consistently rate the glutes high among body parts they find most attractive on a man. Just look at any of those surveys in publications like Muscle and Fitness, Men's Journal, or Men's Health. Yeah, ladies are staring at your ass just as you are likely staring at theirs. So why skimp in that department?
As for the ladies in my audience, these are some examples of what hip thrusts can do for you, taken from Dr. Bret Contreras' website. Bret is the guy who popularized this exercise and who has become appropriately known as the glute guy. Yes, the hip thrust can literally give you that ass, even if you are starting with the granny, pancake, or deflated balloon look. Just one pro tip. Do not ever make eye contact with anyone around you while you perform this movement, as demonstrated here by Dr. Contreras. And that tip applies to both men and women in this case. Unless, of course, you want to creep someone out, possibly get nailed with sexual harassment, or receive unwanted advances from some undesirable at your gym.
And I've included hip thrusts in my Upgraded Man program, which is linked below in the description. Definitely check that out if you're looking for a scientific method to achieve greater strength and performance, as well as intimidating size and a developed yoke. I unofficially call that program Bear Mode by Science, whereas my more aesthetics-driven program is called Beast Mode by Science, which is also linked below. And yes, women can also run either of my programs and get great results too. And they have.
Amy, pictured here, is one of my regular viewers. A big shout out to Amy. And I recently found out that she has been utilizing one of my ebooks in her training, only she added extra glute work of her choosing.
I'm actually planning an interview with Amy on this channel at some point. We're just trying to work out the logistics right now of our schedules and everything. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions you'd like me to ask her. Just, keep it nice.
I do want to add, if you are planning to add hip thrusts to your training program, I very strongly advise that you utilize padding such as the squat sponge.
That is what I use, only mine is purple, as seen in my gym photographs earlier, and I've linked to the squat sponge in the description for your convenience. Using this will protect your hips. You see, the heavier you go with hip thrusts, the more the bar will inevitably dig into you, and thus rendering the lift increasingly painful to perform, to the point of absolute torture, and subsequently reducing muscular activation in the process. So, pad the fuck up. Anyway, let me know what you all think in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and to share it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to keep on top of my regular updates. With that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.